Hey again. Hey. So this is number 2 for this week. And as I said, we're in Helaman 1 to 6. And again, apologise for the road noise because it's still pretty close. So we'll do this one and then I'll give you a quick little tour of the bridge I'm on. It's a beautiful stone bridge that was actually put up here in 1928. So it's kind of cool because in 8 years it'll be like 100 years old. And it's still solid as and pretty cute. Again, another popular place for wedding photos. And I've taken many wedding photos like on the spot. And they just come out great. There's a beautiful light that's filtering through. Yeah, that's lovely. Anyway, we're going to be in chapter 3 for this one, and I'm going to go to verse 21. So this is talking about, first of all, first note in verse 1, it says that the people of Nephi, there were no contentions save it were a little pride. And you can see that within the space of, and you'll hear this a lot, of not many years or not much time, how it can go from this to this. And that's what we're just talking about, the adjusting by just a couple of degrees so that you can't get there. And in this week's Come Follow Me too, it talks about the pride cycle. Being an institute and teacher and a seminary graduate, very, very familiar with this pride cycle thing. And you see it a lot over and over in the Book of Mormon. And interesting to note that the antidote for the pride cycle is remember. And you know I love that word, remember. So if you can remember and remember whatever the good things are, your spiritual experiences, remember who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing, how you got there in the first place, that completely wipes out the pride cycle. So it's a good thing to do. Remember. Interesting, right? Okay. Anyway, so verse 21, this is Helaman talking about his 2 sons. So Helaman's now filling the judgment seat because they've banished Kishkaman and the Gadianton robbers for now. It doesn't completely go away. They're just away preparing, the next great attack. So anyway, for now. And he talks about his 2 sons. His 2 sons are awesome people that go out and do an amazing thing, which you'll see. And I think it's chapter 5. Again, chapter 5. Love chapter 5. Okay. It says, and it came to pass that he had 2 sons, and he gave unto the eldest the name of Nephi, and unto the youngest the name of Lehi, and they began to grow up unto the Lord. So, firstly, the names Nephi and Lehi because of their parents that first came out. So, their forefathers, Israel's parents. So, the original Lehi and Nephi that we read about at the beginning of the Book of Mormon. So he named them after them so they could, and he goes on to tell them exactly why in chapter 5 about, why I named you this and why I gave you strong names and why, these are good names for you to have and to emulate these people and do that. So it's a really good thing to think about if you're naming a child. Or what's your name? Mine doesn't really have any significance to my family or anything like that. However, many people's do, and my nickname does. My nickname's Lolly, and that has a lot of significance with my friends, and a lot of my family call me that, so that does. Anyway, so what do you think it means to grow up unto the Lord? Because that was the thought that came to me from that. What does it mean to grow up unto the Lord? Because it's different for everybody, I think. I was discussing it with Dave last night, and he was like, well, it's doing all the things you should do with your children. It's family home evening, it's having prayers. I'm like, yeah, but that's kind of just routine. And what does it actually mean growing up unto the Lord? And I think it's more for what I would think is to be, facing the Lord, learning how to, again, course correct when something's off and turn to the Lord instead of turning away from Him. To actually learn how to do that while you're growing up makes a big difference and much easier. I know for myself that even though I went active for several years, I still knew that I had to turn to the Lord. I just didn't really want to. I was being stubborn. I was just not being humble and, trying to live my life my way, and do the whole, Anyway, long story. Doesn't matter now. One day we might get to talk about it. But in the meantime, I thought it's not about being perfect or having a perfect upbringing, because I certainly didn't. Rather, it is self-correcting your course to be centered on Jesus Christ again. And it's learning to do that when you're young. So teach your kids how to do that. Or if you're younger, think about how are you doing that now? Are you good at doing that? Do you recognize that quickly? Could you be better at that? So yeah, not all of us have the opportunity in childhood to grow up with gospel knowledge. We don't. However, we can grow up spiritually as an adult as well unto the Lord as we look to Him and build on that sure foundation. This growth process can last a lifetime. Now again, sure foundation is my favourite scripture in chapter 5. Actually, probably the whole of Helaman, and one of the ones in the whole book of Mormon. And to not cover it this week was hard, but I'm not going to, because I think you know it and it's been covered before. However, so I thought about this. What does it mean to grow up unto the Lord? If you've got any thoughts, let me know. I'd like to know your thoughts too. President Nelson said, "It is mentally rigorous to strive to look unto Him in every thought, but when we do, our doubts and fears flee." And I really like that, because it is mentally rigorous to constantly course correct. It does take a lot of mental strength to do that, and sometimes we're just so tired, especially now with just what they're calling it COVID tiredness or something. It was a phrase they used. Here comes a lovely lady and her doggy. It's all good. Hello, puppy. Give you a look. See, there they go. Cute doggy. I love dogs. They won't let me have one yet. Anyway, so yeah, it is mentally rigorous to strive to constantly course correct, but it's worth doing it. Alright, quick look around here. So, as you can see down here is a little stream. You can see down there, little babbling brook, as you will. And this is the nice light that I talk about that just sort of seems to flow in from here. And you can go for a walk down there, as you can see. Goes on not too far and sort of swings back around. It's really lovely. But there's plenty of bird life down here. It's a good place for walking dogs, good place for a picnic, weddings, yeah. And apart from the road noise, generally pretty quiet. Alright, well, I'm going to head around to the playground. Hopefully they finished it. Last time I came down here it wasn't, and it's actually a pretty cool playground with a really cool water feature thing. So hopefully that's done. We'll go see, right, and do number 3. Okay, see you soon.